Titans lost to the Steelers 40-17. This result is hugely unsurprising, and I'm going to talk about the pros, going to talk about the and even I had optimism that the Titans were going to win this challenging or hard game versus the Steelers because they had the momentum of a 4-game winning streak. They had defeated all 3 other teams in the AFC North, so no doubt they had confidence that they were going to be able to sweep the AFC North and win their 5th consecutive game, but they didn't that's why I predicted the Titans would win 24-21 in a great close game, and I was hugely wrong. The Steelers steamrolled the Titans 40-17 in a game that became an embarrassment in the second half. And even with this momentum of the 4-game winning streak, I still had that fear that worst-case result being that the Steelers steamrolled the Titans, and that's exactly what happened Thursday night in Pittsburgh. I'm going to talk about the pros, and I'm going to talk about the cons. I'm going to talk about the pros and why I'm not overreacting or panicking from this terrible loss. Starting with the cons, Mariota was responsible for there was 4 ints thrown by Mariota. The only one you can really say that where he's not to blame, it's more on Davis. As Davis, a pass, he pushed the ball up, and a Steelers defender was able to take advantage. Other than that, the other 3 you can Mariota is to blame for making terrible decisions, and the Steelers easily took advantage with easily intercepting the ball. And Steelers, if I recall, they scored points from all of those turnovers, including 6 points, if I recall right, 2 ints in the first half and 6 points. So really hard to win an NFL game when you turn the ball over. When you turn the ball over 4 times, and that the other team, when you lose the turnover battle for zip, and the other team scoring points from those turnovers. Titans gave up way too many big plays, and so it's not gave up way too many big plays, so making it hugely unlikely that they were going to win this game. So it's not surprising. That the Steelers were able to they had an onslaught and easily scored 24 points in the second half, and even with still able to outscore the Titans 16-7 in the first half. Hugely unlikely. Hard to win an NFL game if you're going to have to score. So you got outscored in both halves. And Titans defense, they had no turnovers. And the closest they ever came to a turnover was creating a fumble, but Steelers were able to recover that and still score a field goal before going to halftime to increase that lead 16-7. The Titans never led in this game. It's the second half that this game became an embarrassment, because after the Titans had scored after Titans had scored that touchdown and that field goal to answer the Steelers after Titans scored a field goal to increase it to make their amount of points to 17. They weren't able to score after that, but the Steelers continued able to score and made it go from bad to worse for the Titans, and it became an unwatchable game in the second half. After the Titans had scored, had made their points scored to 17, and worst result being the fact that the Titans got steamrolled. But the worst con being the Titans didn't sweep the AFC North. They had a chance to do something great on Thursday Night Football, beat a great Steelers team with most persons watching a primetime game on Thursday night, sweep the AFC North by defeating a great Steelers team in Pittsburgh, and they hugely failed. So they still pros for this, even though the Titans had now onto the pros. Even though the Titans had did lose to the Steelers 40-17, they still have a winning record versus the AFC North because they did defeat 3 teams before the Steelers. So even with this loss, even with the Titans not sweeping the AFC North, they still have the second best record, the second best result of a 3-1, which is a winning 3-1, winning 75% of the games versus the AFC North. They made it. Mariota was able to rebound even with the even with the turnovers, which he was with the ints. He ran for a TD. He ran for a touchdown to score the Titans' first touchdown, which was a great, impressive play because he had to run against the Steelers' defense. The ball could have been knocked out and could have been tackled. Could have been hit really hard and the ball knocked out, but that didn't happen. He was able to easily run for a touchdown and score the Titans' first touchdown, which was valiant and impressive and was a long drive. The Titans were able to keep it a watchable second half for their 2 possessions. They decreased the lead down to 2 with Mariota throwing a long pass to Matthews. He took advantage and easily scored a touchdown to decrease that lead to 16-14. And even after the Steelers were able to answer with the touchdown, the Titans still were able to answer with a field goal. And Titans defense, no doubt they were frustrated. They had to continue to go back on the field, but this is a team that they didn't quit. If they did, then highly illogical that they were able to create a fumble late in the second quarter, and those are all of the pros. Now, why I'm not overreacting or panicking from this loss is because it's just they lost to a great team on the road, and that was mainly because they're giving up a lot of major plays, and they did lose the turnover battle 4-0. You're not likely to win. It's hugely unlikely you're going to win a football game when you lose a turnover battle by that much, including having to play a great team on the road. And it's one game. Even if the Titans they fall the one game back of the Jaguars, depending on if the Jaguars are able to beat the Browns on Sunday. But even if the Jaguars do beat the Browns on Sunday, Titans are still able to play the Jaguars another game this year. They still own that tiebreaker, and no doubt the Titans still have multiple games left that they could win and move back into first place to win the AFC South. And they still have an opportunity. So that's exactly why I'm not panicking, because the Titans, they still have more than 4 games left to play. And they can still move back into first place. They can still move back into the first place even if the Jaguars win on Sunday and win the AFC South. If not, still make the playoffs as a wild card. And they did lose to a great team, so it's really hard to be discouraged when you get steamrolled by a great team. It's not a surprising add-in. It's on the road, so it's not that surprising result. So that's exactly why I'm not panicking. I'm not overreacting. I'm still confident that the Tennessee Titans can win the AFC South, and if not the AFC South, still make the playoffs as a wild card. So it's going to be extremely interesting to be watching how the Titans respond after this awful loss, along with how the Jaguars play on Sunday, playing a spoiler Browns team that still hasn't won a game, and they're playing in Cleveland, and playing a spoiler Browns team, and they're playing in Cleveland, and it's all on the Jaguars. They have an advantage now to move into first place because the Titans have the tiebreaker. Are they going to succeed and defeat a spoiler Browns team, or are they going to hugely fail in the worst, lose to the Browns team and not take advantage of the Titans' loss and not move into first place? So it's going to be a hugely interesting Sunday, watching the Jaguars play the Browns, with an opportunity for the Jaguars to move into first place if they're able to defeat the spoiler Browns in Cleveland.